How are you, dear listeners? So, I'm here packing for my trip tomorrow, so please excuse any noises you hear in the background of me stuffing things into bags and whatnot. I'm really looking forward to this trip. It may be work related, but I haven't boarded a plane in a minute, and it would be great, really great, to feel the air of a foreign place wash over me. I'm pressed for time, so I need to give you this update quickly, and hopefully I will have more information before I leave the island. So, let me start with last night when I got a call from Mr. Miller. We were exchanging ideas as to what or who is behind what's happening, and he mentioned noticing some of his clothes missing. Now, this prompted him to do more checking around his home, and some food items and a fold-up chair were missing as well. His 17-year-old daughter said she had no clue about the items that were missing, and Mr. Miller said he was going to buy some security cameras the very next day because he wasn't comfortable with what was happening. Well, this morning, when he returned home, he popped out from work to come and set up the cameras. He's a manager at the National Transport Authority. He was greeted by a host of flashing blue and red lights from an ambulance and police cars that were at his home. An unconscious woman was stretched out in the driveway, receiving medical attention. This woman was quite tall, and her limbs were of an unnatural shape and extremely swollen. Lola, Mr. Miller's daughter, tearfully admitted she'd been hiding the woman in the cave for nearly a week. The stranger wouldn't give her name, so Lola called her Jane. Jane had approached her begging for water, and her head was injured at the time. Lola explained the woman was very jumpy and anxious and kept pleading not to let them come back and get her. They spent most of the week in a routine of Lola giving her meals, tending to the head wound, and then reading to her on evenings when outside was cooler, when neither I nor Mr. Miller were around. Or at least she tried to do that. And while I was on the phone with Mr. Miller this morning, Gina sent me a message letting me know a man was admitted to the emergency department. He was delirious, wearing a wristband with a number, date of birth, and the letters ZSI were on it. He had to be restrained because he was kicking and throwing punches, screaming that they needed to hide him from the evil doctors. Someone had found him in the park on a bench, having violent seizures, and called an ambulance. Unfortunately, he passed away shortly after arriving at the hospital, but managed to tell them where he was being held before taking his final breath. He called the name Cedriton and shouted it was on Satan Road. Now, I knew that could very well be a nickname for the road, so I used Google and came up with Devil's Fork, a very dangerous junction in the parish. One second. Of Bridgeville. Police and EMTs were dispatched to the area. What in heaven's name is going on at that facility? And abducting people and performing God knows what kind of utterly unspeakable acts on them. I'm glad there's a location where investigations can be carried out, but how many people is it already too late for, guys, by the time the authorities get there? This one is heartbreaking, folks. It really is. Anyway, I have to finish packing, and as I said, I hope to get you some news before I leave for my trip tomorrow. You have a good night, folks. Bye.